Story Corner, presented by Jennifer. What had the Darlings figured out? The Darlings knew Conrad was lying. He couldn't have been at the post office the day before, as he had said, because it was Sunday and the post office was closed. Sally also knew the original early 1800s painting had been replaced. The original would no longer smell like oil, and it wouldn't have been stapled in the back, but nailed. Okay, for those of you who guessed correct, or who deduced the answer correctly, very good. For those of you who were off the mark a little bit, that's okay. You have a chance to solve another mystery right now. Chain of custody. No, I didn't do it, Doreen Whitcomb said. I know how it looks, but I didn't. Good to hear, Detective Ledoux said. He'd known Whitcomb for years and always found him to be a pleasant fellow. He managed the evidence lockers for the department, but today he was pale and his voice was shaking. What exactly didn't you do? The rest? Well, Whitcomb gulped. As you know, the Chapman case comes up for trial next month. Oh, no. The detective had spent a year putting together a case for bribery and extortion against Nicholas Chapman, a contractor who somehow always managed the lowest bids for any state project. Every single time. It was almost as though he had inside information. As it turned out, it was a combination of bribery and extortion that had provided the information. The investigation put together the pieces to prove that to a jury. The key evidence was a hand entry ledger. An over-eager employee kept that detailed every transaction. Please don't tell me the ledger's missing, Ledoux said. Whitcomb looked ill. Ledoux said, how? I was pulling material for the Christopher case, and it was in the A to C cage. The Chapman box was askew. I hadn't touched it, so I checked it, and the ledger was gone. Anyone sign it out? Strict records were kept for anyone entering the locker room and any of the material removed. Whitcomb shook his head. Landau looked thoughtfully. Who else has access? Any officer with pending cases. I go along in case I'm called to testify that nothing was added or removed. You know, chain of custody. But if I'm at lunch, the officers can go in. Alice makes sure they sign in, and she has an eagle eye. Who signed in? Whitcomb gave 3 names. Charles Polk, an assistant district attorney, Jean Faraday, a detective, and Marion Hardy, a patrol officer who handled driving cases. Landau noted the names and headed off for interviews. Polk, a pudgy man, was an assistant DA who handled minor crimes. I'm assisting on the Feldrich case, Feldrich forgery next week. This is my chance to move up. I wanted to look at the documents again. Landau nodded to the computer on Polk's desk. You don't have a scanned copy? It's the paper. The defense plans to raise an issue that the actual paper can be traced elsewhere, so their client didn't do the forgery. When approached, Jean Friday gave Landau a careful look. What's your game? No game. We're tracking chains of evidence where people have gone in alone. Faraday sniffed. If you don't want people going in alone, tell Whitcomb to knock off the hour lunches. I'm on the Purdue case. I needed to see the crowbar he used. Looks like he used one in a burglary last week, too. Marion Hardy said, I'm working on the Nickel Watson drug deal. He has an alibi, but I think his witness is the same he used in his last case. I needed a picture of the guy. And first name spelled differently, but I'm following up anyways. Seems too odd. Landau returned to the evidence locker. Chapman loves bribery, and I have a good idea whom he bribed. Alice looked puzzled. Are you sure something's missing? I would have seen someone remove a ledger. Let's hope you're right, Landau said, heading into the cages. Who stole the ledger? Put your answers in the comment section and tune in next time to A Developing Crime Spree for the answer.